Hey everyone, it's Izzy and welcome to Izzy's Book Club. It is officially the end of February 2026 and I read 15 books this month. Yup, 15. It's my birthday month, so I guess I was just in a reading mood and my reading went up and down. Reading slumps, minor reading slumps and anything, but let's do my February reading wrap up. Also, I have better visuals today because you can actually see me, whereas in the last one it was just a black screen, but my audio isn't as good because I'm recording on my phone instead of my setup, but we are getting better every time. Practice makes perfect, right? So let's get into my reading wrap up for February. So I had my first book of February was my 7th book of the year, but we're gonna go book 1 of February. Alright. Book 1 of February was Claimed by the Mob Boss by Bella King, narrated by Elle Sonali and Gabriel McKnight. I give this one 4 stars. The MCs are Millie Hart and Victor Soberoff. Victor is Millie's landlord and she comes to see him because he raised the price on her rental property and her shop. And to pay her back for that, so she did agree to lower the rent, but he wanted her to be with him, and they ended up getting pregnant. And what I really liked about this story is that Victor turns from like this cold Russian mafia boss to this lovely father figure. Book 2 was Clear by Kerry Davies, narrated by Russ Bain. I gave this one 2.5. So it's sort of an MM romance, but not romance. It's like friends. Very close friends. So John Ferguson is sailing into Scotland, I think it is, and he lost control of the boat. He goes unconscious and is found on the shore by Ivor, the other MMC. Ivor doesn't speak English at all, so they have a language barrier, which is usually my favourite trope. But unfortunately, it was kind of ruined for me because there was no dialogue between them when they learned to communicate. They didn't speak as it was so much as the narrator telling us. John Ferguson told Ivor about the weather instead of the actual dialogue. It was narrated for us, if that makes sense. Book 3 was David and the Phoenix by Edward Ormondroyd. This was a sort of children's book that I picked up, but I picked it up because it had phoenixes in it, and Phoenix is my middle name. I found it pretty interesting, but I gave it 3 stars. It just didn't hit the point for me, but for a children's book, I think it was really entertaining. The main character, David, finds a phoenix, and they go on many adventures together. Book 4 was When Haru Was Here by Dustin Tao, narrated by David Lee Huynh. I gave this one 2 stars. So it's an MM romance-ish, young adult, but our main male lead, who we only get his perspective from, is Eric Bly, and he lost his friend Daniel, who I think they were going to have a relationship, but Daniel unfortunately passed away. He met this guy called Haru, who was on a trip to Japan, who he was quite attracted to, and after Daniel died, Haru became his imaginary friend because he was back in America and he had to learn to let go, unfortunately, of Haru, who was a sweetheart, and learn the difference between imaginary and reality. I didn't really like this because the narrator had a very robotic tone and it just didn't hit the spot for me, but it doesn't take away from the story, which has a very important message. My 5th book of the month was Vesuvius by Cass Bean, narrated by Max Myers and Amin El Gamal. 5 stars, guys. It's a historical fiction taking place in the time of Vesuvius, so 79 AD. In Rome, and the MMCs are Felix Fortunatus and Lauren Lashes. Felix was a thief and quite a brat to start off with, but over the course of being friends with Lauren, who found him, they really grow on each other and it turns out to be a nice story. It's not very romantic in that sense, but there are some good scenes. Lauren was a, what do they call him? Oracle. He could see stuff, but the only visions he got was scary visions of a ghost Felix who would die every time. And I love the disability rep in here. Lauren and Felix both come out of saving a few people from Vesuvius and saving each other with permanent injuries. Felix suffers permanent damage to his hands and he can no longer feel in his hands. Lauren came out with a permanent limp in one leg, and I can relate to that because I have cerebral palsy, so I can really feel Lauren, and it was discussed really beautifully. 12th book was Breathless by Megan Linsky, narrated by the wonderful A.J. Carter, another 5-star read. This is a reverse Little Mermaid retelling. So Adrian is a merman, son of Poseidon, and Isa, or Izzy as he calls her, that's my name, is a human woman, and they learn to be together. She ends up turning into a mermaid. What I really like about this was the narrator, AJ Carter, had a really nice voice, and he is such a good voice actor, especially for Poseidon. He gets that really growly god kind of feeling. Book 13, and this deserves to be on 13th, was A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Camerera. I can't pronounce it, Camerera? And this was about Harper and Ren. Harper has cerebral palsy, and I went into this, I put this on my TBR thinking I would feel so seen. No, she has a different level to me. It's less severe, but in her case, and I don't know if this is true, but I've never seen this happen, she is able to tell her brain to keep up with her body, and it obeys. So she can kind of control her disease, which is like the author didn't do enough research. The narrators were Kate Hanford and Davis Brooks, and they were both very robotic, so I ended up DNFing, but I'm giving it 1 star, but you know, you get what you get. So sorry, that was book 7 of February. I've been losing track. Book 8 of February, which is my 14th of the year, was Victor, Her Ruthless Crush by Theodora Taylor. 4 stars, narrated by Layla Olari and Rex Yoon. The disability rap in here is awesome. Victor, our MMC, had his tongue cut out when he was little, and he is nonverbal. He can make some sounds and some words, but the pronunciation is off, and I just think he's a really cute character. The only reason I gave it 4 stars is because it ends on a cliffhanger, and I'm not sure whether I should finish the series or not, because like he turns out to be a mafia, like in the Chinese mafia or whatever it's called, Diamond Head or something. I don't know. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars. And guys, should I read the series? Book 9? Yeah, book 9? I've lost track, I guess. Yeah, book 9, book 15, was Marriage and Malice by Trisha Wolfe, narrated by Meg Sylvan and James Joseph. 3 stars. The main characters are Violet Capella and Lucian. So this is another mafia romance. Lucian is Irish, and he has a very rough history with the Capellas. And so he kidnaps Violet, and they have like an arranged marriage, otherwise he will destroy her family. And so he starts out very anti-hero. He's not a nice guy, but the more they yearn for each other and the more they come to care for each other, oh, it's just beautiful. Book 10, hang on, book 10, yeah, book 10, whoops, was Tanner by Samantha Skye, narrated by Victoria Connolly, who played Victoria MacArthur, and Sean Masters, who played Tanner Whiteman. This I gave 2.5 stars. The narration was great, but it's an age gap romance, my first ever age gap. And I discovered I do not like age gap romance. Tanner is 51 and he has a grown-up son. Victoria is 30. No. I'm sorry, I just can't. Book 17 is the first. Oh my gosh, sorry. Book 11 was the first of my Mountain Man series, if you saw my other video. And it is The Silent Mountain Man by Casey Cox, narrated by Kurt Graves. It is an Mountain Man romance. Yes, Harik does remind me of a caveman. So it's between Eddie Boyd and Harik Tarzan. And it's like a second chance romance. I won't spoil too much, but basically they were a thing before, something happened that I won't spoil, and then now they're together in a sort of different way. I gave this 4.5 stars only because I think that the dynamics were a little too rushed. Like, it was like, you know, they met, Harik was really nervous, and then Eddie just starts talking and away they go. But I guess that's because they do actually know each other-ish. But yeah. Book 12 was Take Me to the Cabin by Cassie Rose, narrated by Lacey Glenox and Walker Williams. 6 stars! Our FMC is Jenna, who had to run away to the Whiskey River to get away from her terrible parents and her horrible ex. Our MMC is this beautiful virgin called Phoenix, and he is so shy and just loves Jenna so much from the moment they meet, but it takes them a while to warm up to each other because they're both awkward, and Phoenix doesn't have much experience, and it's just delightful. Book 13 or 19 of this year was The Mountain Man's Muse by Frankie Love, narrated by Penelope Ann Rose, who plays Rose, and Oliver Clark, who plays River Rider. The narration was top. The narration was amazing. I gave this one 3 stars because, again, it was too quick for me. So River purchases Rose as a mail order ride. They talk for about a day because he's a writer and he has severe writer's block. So they talk for a day, then suddenly, bang, he gets inspiration, locks himself in his room for 2 weeks. Rose then yells at him, and then straight to the epilogue. A year later, they love each other, they're having a baby. When did they make up? How did they do it? How did River learn to communicate with Rose? That's what I want to know. I want good world building, not just straight and, you know, now they're having their first child. Just, no. Book 14 was a sort of spontaneous read because I got Libby. Victor by Brenda Robert, narrated by Madeline Dower and Eric Bloomquist. I gave this one 3 stars. My first ever hockey romance. I really like Victor Allen Lane. It's sort of like a celebrity crush. So the main FMC, Lindy, fell in love with Victor because he's on a hockey team that she follows, and it's like the first time they meet up, they just instantly connect. And I want a bit of, you know, bonding, but it's like, I don't know, there is bonding later, but it just didn't sit well with me, you know? It's just, I need more time with them. But yeah, it was good. The narration was amazing, so 3 stars. And my last book, which was book 15, I can't English. No, wait. Yeah, sorry, book 15. Play with Fire by Lainey Davis, narrated by Zoe Black and James Cassidy, 3.5 stars. Oh my goodness. Tucker Stagg, the MMC. What do I say about this man? He's another hockey player, but unlike Victor, he's not, like, he's sort of into himself. He knows what he's worth, but when it comes to Sloane, who has a lot of issues to unpack, and also her best friend, her roommate, Mel, is in a wheelchair. Love that. Great representation. I need more Mel. But the way that Tucker handles Sloane's trauma, because her ex was one of his teammates, and the way they handle it and get through it together was just, I loved it. So there you have it, my reading wrap up for February 2026. Sorry for all the stalling. Hope you enjoy, and let me know if there's any books you'd like me to read. I have a full TBR, but I'm always open to suggestions. Thanks guys, have a lovely day.